All right, so today we're going to talk about qualifying the customer. It's super important that you guys remember, stay on camera, participate as much as you can, take notes when you can, because how do you pass this training? It's two parts. You participate, stay on camera, and then at the end of this training, I'm going to send you a link. On that link, it's going to have a quiz. You have, I think it's 10 questions. You need to get an 80 to pass. And all the questions on that quiz are going to be exactly what you're going to see on here. So take screenshots, take notes, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you have enough ammunition to make sure that you pass. When you take the quiz, what we'll do is send the results to the owners that you work for so they can go over how you guys did on today's training. All right, we'll do some popcorn role play. What does that mean? I'll say, hey, Jocelyn, how do you greet a customer? And then you go into that, and then I would, talk back to you. Those are called popcorn role plays, where we just do a little back and forth, so that way we understand, make sure that you understand what we're talking about. The reps that for VHA, they will come out to your stores and they will do full-on role plays on all the trainings that you've done. So they will be continuing training, but today we'll just do some popcorn role plays. All right?
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you. So let's talk about it. So you guys tell me, and this is, you guys just chime in, take yourself off mute. Why is qualifying the customer important? What do you guys think?
Because without qualifying them, you won't be able to give the advice that they want.
Okay, so you broke up a little bit, but I think I heard you say without qualifying, you won't be able to give them the device that they want. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Someone else, what else do you guys think? Why is it important to qualify the customer?
So we know what to offer them and how to offer it to them.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're offering to them based on their needs and not just a promotion. So we want to make sure that we understand what they're looking for, how they use their phone, where they use their phone. That way, when we recommend a phone, it's on needs and not just a promotion and not just what we're looking for, right? Perfect, thank you. So you said it in your introduction. Why else do you think qualifying the customer is important?
To pretty much just take care of them and then have them just come back to us and then just give them the best experience that they can get. So they'll be more more trusting to come back and pretty much give you more details about their life to pretty much, I guess, like upsell and pretty much get more sales in there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So you want to make sure that they come back to us. We want to make sure that we retain them. We want to keep our customers and want them to keep coming back to us whenever they have to make a payment, whenever they have to do an upgrade, add a line, recommend a friend. So we want to make sure that we qualify them so that we retain our customers, so they keep coming back and the store continues to make residuals and commission on it, right? And we want to make sure that they're happy with the product so that they don't port out. Does anyone know the number one reason why customers port out of any carrier, not just Boost, but why do customers leave their carrier?
I think it has a lot to do with their service. And I want to say customer service, but I think it's mainly.
Yeah. So those are a couple of reasons, right? They don't like the number one reason is they run out of data and they think that our service isn't enough for what they're using. So we want to make sure that we teach the customer how to manage their data. So that way, when they are using their phone and they are using their data, they don't run out of data. That's super important, right? When they run out of data, they think that there's something wrong with us, the network, and they port out and they go to someone else and they pretty much get the same thing. So we want to make sure that and one of the things that they say is the rep wasn't honest with me about how much data, high-speed data I actually get. So it's super important that we make sure that the customer understands it. The second thing that's the reason why they port out is they lose their phone or they break it. So we want to make sure that we tie them into insurance. So that way, if they lose their phone or they break it, their number one thought should be coming back to us. So those are the top two reasons. And the third reason is they really don't like us because of our customer service.
Well, when I do phones, when I do a package, I try to include insurance, and then they'll say whether they want it or not. But like when I give a quote, I try to give the quote with the insurance included, but I still let them know that insurance is on the phone, and they'll just tell me whether they want it or not. And most people get it, and some don't. Some just feel like they don't need it. And then you got some that come in and they, get a new phone, and because their previous phone was broke up, and I'm like, maybe we should add insurance on this one, seeing what happened to this phone. You wouldn't have to pay anything but what is it? An insurance claim. I can't think of the
The
word for it.
deductible.
Yeah, the
deductible, okay.
deductible. Yeah, so sometimes it's a sale, and sometimes you get people that's just like, no, they don't want it.
Yeah, for sure. That is definitely it. And we'll talk a little bit about that, how to properly position the insurance so that the customer understands the value of adding insurance. Perfect. Great job. All right. So let's talk about what's the number one thing. So let's think about when a customer walks into your store. This is called the first impression. So you ever heard that saying, you only get one chance to make a first impression? The same goes with our customers. So let's talk about that first impression. First impression is formed the moment that the customer opens the door and walks in. You look at them, they look at you. A first impression is formed in 1/24th of a second with 60% accuracy. So what does that even mean? That means that immediately, right away, when the customer looks at you, you look at them, you're forming an impression. You're going to look at the customer and say, oh, that customer never buys. They just come in and ask questions. They look around and they leave. Or, oh, they're just coming in to make a payment. They never want to buy anything else. So we stop asking them, have you heard about our free insurance? Have you heard about our BOGO program? Is there someone that, that you could add a line to? We stop asking them those questions because they're all regulars. The first impression is also formed with you. The minute that the customer opens the door and takes a look at you, if you stay behind the counter, if you stay looking at your YouTube, TikToks, all your social media, watching movies, and don't really interact with the customer, they form an impression of you. They're like, oh, this rep isn't going to really take care of me. They don't really care. So always remember, first impressions are the most important impressions. There was a survey that was done with 100 consumers, and they were asked 3 questions. When you interact with a sales associate at any store, what's the most important interaction with you? Body language, tone of voice, or the words that they actually said. 55% of the people said that the body language was the most important thing to them. So what do you think that means? What does body language mean?
Like the gesture of your body whenever the customer comes in. If you sit slouched over the counter looking at your phone, or just slouched over, just talking to them and interacting with them, sitting down, arms folded, like things like that. Because there have been times I went in stores and they just, hey, how you doing? And they go right back into being in their phone, or they just don't really give you the attention that you deserve while trying to conduct business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. Yes, and the other thing that this means is exactly what you just said, Alexandria. So for those of you that work at a 4.0 store, the newer stores, that has a big, Boost logo on the back with like that gray wall and then the orange behind it. There's a table in the middle of the floor, and that table actually has a name. It's called a talk table. That talk table was specifically designed so that you and your customer meet together at that middle, and that you guys start interacting and talking with each other. Yes, definitely practice your social distancing, wear your mask, whatever your protocols are. But the expectation is that you rise up, you have eye contact with the customer, and you greet them with a hook. So what do I mean by greeting with a hook? So you say something like, hi, welcome to Boost Mobile. My name is Liz. Are you coming in for our tax promos? The customer would say, I didn't know anything about your tax promos. What are they? And so now you have an opportunity to start talking to them on our tax promos. Hi, welcome to Boost Mobile. My name is Liz. Are you coming in for our free internet? Free internet? Never heard about that. What's that? Now you have an opportunity to start talking about ATP, right? So this is the one time that we recommend and encourage you guys to ask a closed-ended question to pique the customer's interest, which allows you to have a segue into presenting our promotions, our products, and our services, right? So you want to make sure that you always say the company name. Hi, welcome to Boost Mobile. Say your name, have your hook, and always do sometime during the conversation, hopefully at the beginning, you ask the customer their name. Why do you think it's important to ask the customer their name?
It makes
Establish.
it,
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, no, wait, you said I go ahead?
Go ahead, Ella.
Okay. I was just, wait, sorry. What was the question again?
Why is it important to ask the customer their name?
Because it establishes kind of like, makes them feel, you kind of like personalize when you're selling, and it makes it seem like you're giving them your whole attention to them, and it makes them feel like they're being treated well, and then they're going to be taken care of pretty much.
Yep, that's pretty much it. It starts building that rapport between you and the customer. You start calling the customer by their name. They start trusting you. Those walls start coming down. And remember, you are the wireless experts. They're coming in with less knowledge than you. So when you recommend something, they're going to take your recommendation for face value. So that's why it's important to make sure that you ask the customer their name. Right, perfect. The next was the tone of their voice. 38% of the customers said that the tone of their voice really mattered. So what does that mean? If you come into work and you're like, well, can I help you? You know, downbeat, unmotivated, not excited, the customer is going to feel like, oh my gosh, what's going on with the sales rep, right? So you want to make sure that you sound happy. Yes, we all have life going on. You know, we have kids, husbands, wives, family, friends, issues, but we got it all. But when we clock in, we've got to figure out a way to leave it at the door and make sure that we greet every customer with excitement. Keep in mind, there are so many options today for the customer that if they don't like the rep that they're working with, they can just go somewhere else. Think about all the stores that you have to drive past, not just Boost, your other competitions, when they come past you. So if they don't feel comfortable with the rep, they can just go somewhere else. So you want to make sure that you sound excited, you're upbeat, you're happy, you're smiling. That also works when you answer the phone. When you answer the phone, they can sense the tone of your voice over the phone. So you want to make sure that you do that as well. And the last one was 7% only really cared about the words that they said. So it's super important to remember that you want to get up, get from the counter, stop watching your videos and all that if you're even allowed to have phones on the sales floor, and engage with the customer, right? You want to make sure that you greet them properly. I don't know if you guys are aware, who knows what an NPS score is? NPS. NPS stands for Net Promoter Score. So at the beginning of the year, Boost Mobile started doing Net Promoter Scores. What does that mean? That within 48 hours that you sell something to the customer, they are reaching out to your customer via text message, sometimes phone call, and they're asking them a few questions. How satisfied were you when you walked into, Jocelyn, I'm going to use you, into your store? And they'll say, how did Jocelyn treat you? What, did she greet you properly? Give her a score of 1 to 10. How likely would you recommend the store? Score of 1 to 10. And you'll be surprised on the things that customers say. So they're asking customers how you did. Did you know the promotions? Did you understand the phones? Were you able to explain to them? Did you know the rate plan? So they'll ask them a bunch of questions. So it's super important to make sure that you know the promotions, greet the customer, engage with them, because they're going to call the customer and ask how they did with you. The expectation, they grade you on a scale of 1 to 10. The expectation is that you get a 9. If you get 8 or below, they're going to, the Boost Mobile folks are going to call the owners that you work for and have a conversation on what happened with you and that customer. So it's super important to remember, yes, we do want to take care of our customers because we want them to come back. We love our customers. We want to make sure that they engage and recommend customers to us, but you're also being great on your interaction with the customer. Right, so that's super important. Perfect. Any questions on first impressions?
So the only problem like I've been having when it comes to the customers is like I don't speak Spanish. I'm not bilingual. So like when they come in and I speak to them, they speak back, but then they say Spanish, and I tell them no, I don't know Spanish. But I also got a translator on my phone, but it just still seems like they just rather go to somebody who speaks Spanish. And
Yeah.
that's the only problem. I feel like I didn't like lost sales to that, like, because they rather just work with somebody who speaks Spanish. And I mean, like, I don't know, that's kind of frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, that's super important. I will let you know that whatever language, right? Whatever language a customer is their number one language and they're more comfortable with that, they prefer to interact with someone that speaks their same language. And there's definitely something that's lost with you using Google Translate. As much as you're trying to help the customer, they rather work with someone that speaks Spanish. So that's really great feedback for the owners that you work for. Maybe they have someone, that works with you that speaks Spanish. There's definitely a couple things that should be done. But you will lose customers if a customer can't communicate with you and they're trying to tell you what's going on and they can't. They'll get frustrated and they'll just go find someone that can speak Spanish. So that's really important.
It's people that I work with that do speak Spanish, but I mean, like, when I say lose a sale, I feel like, in the opportunity to be able to help them and be able to sell the products and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. So that's definitely, unless you learn how to, there's nothing you're going to be able to do with that, because Spanish-speaking customers will rather prefer to speak to someone that can actually understand them and they can go back and forth. So that one's a tough one. So yeah, but that's definitely a conversation that I would recommend you having with whoever your manager is, so that way they are aware of that situation. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So let's go to the next one. So this is the first impressions. The next one, we call it our 5 core questions. Now this was, and definitely make sure you're paying attention to this, because all of this is going to be on your quiz. So this was created for a lot of new reps that really don't understand how to even get the conversation going with a customer. They really don't know, hey, what to say to the customer. The customer comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for the free phone, and you just go right away and show them the free phone. This was created so that we can start having a conversation with the customer and start understanding their starting point, where they're coming from. Because there's always got to be a starting point of what they have, where they're coming from, what the issues are. They're in your store for a reason. So you want to make sure that you ask these questions. So I'm going to go through these questions and I'm going to ask you guys, why do you think they're important? If a customer comes into your store and says, I'm looking to see what kind of free phones you have, my hope is that you say, great, we've got a lot of fantastic free phones, so I know what you qualify for. Let me ask you a few questions. What company are you currently with? What carrier do you currently have? Why do you think that's an important question to ask a customer?
Some phone stores are, but we have to know to spin and grow.
Okay, yeah, I think you said, you broke up a little bit. I think you said you have to know what company they're coming in, so that you know if the promos qualify with that company that they're putting in from, if they're compatible. Okay, for sure, that's good, thank you. Liz, what else? Why do you think it's important to understand what company, what carrier the customer's with?
To understand like what company they're with.
Mm-hmm.
To understand what promotions they qualify for, if they're switching, the connection. Usually I check like the coverage and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just keep in mind, you got 2 customers coming in. Either they're existing customers or they're brand new customers. An existing customer will not qualify for the same products or promotions that a new customer comes in. So if a customer comes in and says, hey, I heard about that, the BOGO phone that you guys going on, I want to get them. You're like, great, you get excited, you start talking to them, and then they tell you, oh, I'm already with Boost. Well, now they no longer qualify for that promotion. So you're going to have to tell the customer, ooh, unfortunately, sir, ma'am, you don't qualify for that promotion. No customer ever wants to hear the word, you don't qualify for that. So you want to make sure that from the beginning, you understand, are they currently with us or are they whatever carrier they're with for a couple of reasons. The next question you want to ask the customer, why are you looking to switch from your current carrier company? How long have you been there? Why do you think that's an important question to ask, Juliana?
Oh, sorry.
Because sometimes they don't qualify to switch over yet. So you start talking to them before you even know if they qualify to switch over, and then you realize that they're not eligible for anything because they're not eligible to port in.
Okay, that's definitely one. Perfect, thank you. Alexandra, were you going to say something different?
Well, I was gonna say something about the last question. I kind of, when it comes to talking about the promotions, I always just kind of include like these promotions are for people that ports in or new customers. Like I try to just let that be the first thing that I bring up and explain or offer. And when I offer them the promotions, so that way, if they already a Boost customer, they know, oh, okay, well, I don't qualify for that. So, you know, this, so they can ask this question, well, what do I qualify for? Or, you know, we can proceed the correct way.
Okay, so let me break this one down a little bit. So number 2 is, why are you looking to switch from your current carrier? There's always a reason why your customer is coming in. If they're with someone else, there's a reason why they want to switch, and you want to understand that reason. Why are you looking to switch? My phone broke, and my company, and I didn't have insurance. They're not giving me a discount. I want to get a new phone, and every time I get a new phone, I have to pay full price, and they break the phone down in payments over my monthly airtime payments, and I don't get a discount. I run out of data. Halfway through the month. I'm running out of data. Something's going on with the company. There's a reason why the customer's in your store. You want to understand it. And the reason why you want to understand it is so that you can show them how you're going to solve that problem. If you show them that you're going to solve that problem, what's the real reason? Why should they switch? You want to show them that you have a solution for the problem. And the last question is, how long have you been there? You want to understand if the customer is hopping from carrier to carrier to carrier. You want to understand if they're hopping around, because if they're hopping around, you don't want that customer. Because keep in mind, we talked about retention, right? That's the one reason we want to make sure the customer stands, because they need to keep coming back. I want you guys to remember, and Saul, that the owners that we work for get paid their commission over 6 months. So if the customer ports out, let's say month 3, month 2, they lose the rest of the commission. So we want to make sure that they keep coming back month over month, up to 6 months, minimum of 6 months, so the owners that we work for make the full commission. The other thing that you want to understand is Boost Mobile themselves, the carrier, doesn't start making money on that customer, on that new customer, till about their 11th, 12th payment. Remember, we gave a free phone away, they're paying commissions. And why is it important for Boost to make money? The more money that the customer makes, the Boost Mobile makes on the customer, the better the promotions are going to be in the future. So long-term and retention is super important. So if a customer comes into you and says, yeah, I've been with Metro for 2 months and I want to switch, red flag. Why do you want to switch? What's going on? What company did you have before Metro? Right? We don't want those customers coming back and forth, because they will port out and you guys will lose money from there. So you got to make sure that you ask the question, why are you looking to switch? How long have you been there? Why are you looking to switch? Because they have a problem and you want to solve it. And how long have you been there? If they're customers that jump back and forth, you don't want those customers. Right. The next question, Saul, that you want to ask the customers, how much are you currently paying with your current carrier? What do you get with that? Why is that an important question to know?
Just can you repeat it one more time?
Yep. How much are you currently paying? What do you get with that? Why is that an important question to know?
Because I mean, we might offer like cheaper deals, because I know I've had a couple of customers switch over from Cricket, and then they're like, oh, I pay like $55, and then we offer a plan for $50. And I want to say it would be like a much better deal for them.
Okay, that's definitely one of them. And you want to understand how much they're paying. Because if a customer is paying $50, $60, and you ask them what are they getting with it, we understand. I'm in Chicago. So Cricket in Chicago doesn't give anywhere near the amount of the high-speed data that Boost does on their $50 plan. So you want to understand their starting point. What are they paying? What are they getting with it? So if the customer comes in and says, my data is running out, which they do with Cricket, if you understand how much he's paying, how much data he's getting with it, you're going to be able to see if ours is going to be better, right? So you want to understand the starting point. How much data do you use? Thank you. Juliana, why is that a good question to ask? How much data do you use?
So you can, whenever you're trying to sell or explain the plans, you can give them better options or teach them how to better use their data so it lasts them longer, and that they keep coming back month for month and they don't have any issues like regarding their internet.
Yes, Juliana, that's exactly it. You want to understand how much data they're using so that you can recommend the right rate plan. You never want, if a customer comes to you and says, you know, I heard about your $35 rate plan, and you don't want to put a customer on that rate plan if they're using, you know, 30, 35 gigs of high-speed data. That customer is going to run out of data right away, and they're going to come in and they're going to start getting upset, frustrated, and they're going to leave us. So making sure that you understand how much data before you recommend the rate plan is what we're asking you guys to do. Alexandra, do you know how to check the data usage on a handset?
Yes, I pull it up in the sales portal and log into the customer's account.
And what if the customer is porting over from Metro and they're not a customer of ours? How do you check the data usage on their phone?
You said check the data usage on somebody else's phone from a different carrier?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever had to do that, so I don't know.
Yeah. So all you have to do is go into settings and then go into data and services, and then further down it'll show you how much data they're currently using and how much data they used the last month. So that way it's important that you do that. So that way you never recommend a rate plan unless you know how much data the customer is using. It's super important that we remember that. And Boost Mobile sent us 2 videos on how to check the data usage on an Android and an iPhone. Make sure that your manager gives you those videos so that you can watch them.
Okay.
All right, and the last 5 core question is, what phone do you currently have? And one of the reasons why I want to ask that is you never want to start off pitching off an Android and I'm an Apple user, or you never want to start pitching me an Apple and I'm an Android user. That's one of the reasons. Second, it kind of eliminates the guessing factor of what the customer is going to get. It's going to set you in the right track from the beginning. And you also want to make sure that you remember and understand the features of this phone. If I come to you, Saul, and I say, I have a Stylo, 5, well, immediately you're going to be like, oh, Stylo 5, they run out of data. You can't download apps. It spins. There's a bunch of issues, right? It's got a smaller screen. So that way you can say to the customer, oh, are you experiencing these issues? And they're going to be like, yeah, I am. How did you know? Because you already know what those old phones and the issues that they have, and you're able to speak to them, and that shows the customer, A, that you know what you're talking about, and based on that, you're going to be able to start understanding what their needs are so that you can make the right recommendation. These 5 core questions are going to be on your quiz, so make sure that you either write them down, take a picture of them. When your Boost VHA rep comes into the store and role plays with you guys, they're going to be expecting that you guys use these 5 core questions, right? And these are just basic questions so that you understand the starting point with the customer, where they're coming from, what do they have. That way now you're going to get into understanding and asking for their needs. So let's jump into that. Any questions before I jump into the next one on what we just covered on the 5 core questions? Any questions on that? Nope. Perfect. Let me go back. All right. So how do I identify the customer's needs? So the first thing that we want to understand is when we're identifying, we never want to make a recommendation. If a customer comes in and says, I'm coming in for your promos, we don't go into the promos. First, we say, great, we've got a lot of fantastic promos, so I know what you qualify for. Let me ask you a few questions. And then you ask the 5 core questions. Once you've asked the 5 core questions, you understand where the customer is coming from. Now you want to ask questions to understand how they use their phone. So where do they work? What are their hobbies? What do they do when they're not working and doing their hobbies? That is going to give you a great indication of how the customer uses their phone. Not only are we asking these questions to understand how the customer uses their phone. But we want to make sure that we're asking these questions so you have enough information so that when you recommend the right rate plan, the right phone, and 5 accessories. Why do we want to recommend a minimum of 5 accessories, Liz?
So at least they can 5 accessories like cases and stuff.
Yep. You should be recommending a minimum of 5 accessories with every sale. Why do you think that is?
Okay. So that at least they take one or two. So
Okay, no.
Oh.
So remember, it's retention, right? A survey has shown us that the more accessories the customer buys, the longer they're going to stay with us, Liz. And then the reason why we want to tie them in there is so that they don't, remember, retention, long term. The customer is going to buy these accessories, but are they going to buy them from you? Or are they going to go to Amazon, the dollar store, Five and Below? Where are they going to buy these accessories? So we recommend 5 accessories, but we recommend them based on the information that we found out. So Liz, if I say to you, I love working out, I love jogging, I love hiking, besides a screen protector and a case, what else would you recommend to me?
like some Bluetooth headphones, a glass, tempered glass. What else?
You can recommend a speaker.
A speaker.
Yep, an armband so that's sweat resistant, water resistant, so they can put it on there and they can jog with it, hike with it, any of that, right? So these are the reasons why you ask that. Couple of things. So 5 accessories is going to keep your customer long term. The longer that you, the more accessories that they buy, the longer they're going to stay with us. Why? No one's going to pour it out if they spend $50, $60 in accessories, because 9 out of 10, that phone is not going to use the same accessories. The second thing is you make more commission. I'm sorry?
We don't have armbands at the stores I didn't work at.
Okay, then you recommend what you have. You want to make sure that you understand what you have so that you recommend what you have, right? The other reason why we recommend accessories is because you make commission. The more accessories you sell, the more commission you make. And the other reason is it creates cash flow for the store. The store operates on cash flow. So Liz, those are the reasons why we want to make sure that we recommend a minimum of 5 accessories. Liz, bundling. As a manager, create bundles, call it your activities bundle, your workout bundle, your travel bundle, and have screen protector case, wireless headsets, an extra car cord, a car mount, if that's your travel bundle, your exercise bundle. So make sure that you guys are working with your managers and the owners to create these bundles. So you can retain the customers long term. So that's the reason why we do accessories. So now let's talk about how we learn this information from our customers so that we can recommend the right things, the right rate plan, the right phone, and the right accessories. All right, and how do we do that? We ask meaningful and relevant open-ended questions. So what is the difference between an open-ended question and a closed-ended question? Who knows that?
An open-ended question is something that you have to answer with an answer, not just a yes or no, like a closed-ended question.
Yes, perfect. That's exactly it, Juliana. Thank you. So an open-ended question allows the customer to talk about the situation or circumstances. A closed-ended question merely allows the customer to say yes or no. When you ask the customer a closed-ended question, you limit the amount of information you get, and it kind of closes down that interaction between you and the customer. So what do you want to do? You want to get the customer to talk. You want to get them to talk a lot. They love talking about themselves. So get them to talk a lot so that way you get to understand them. So let's talk about these open-ended and closed-ended questions. So Saul, are you here to make a payment? Is that an open-ended question or a closed-ended question?
I would say that's a open-ended question because you can ask more questions while they're paying their bill.
Okay, so are you here to make an are you here to make a payment? I can merely say yes or no, so that's a closed-ended question. So the next slide, we'll talk about how to open it up and make it an open-ended question. But that one, remember, if I can say yes or no, it's a closed-ended question. The next question, Juliana, is what brings you in today? Is that an open-ended or a closed-ended question?
Open-ended. They have to give you an answer.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Juliana. And exactly like Juliana said, they can give you an answer. They can tell you what's going on, why they're coming in, what do they need, what's happening, right? They get the opportunity to talk. Thank you, Juliana. Alexandria, do you use a lot of data? Is that open or closed?
I'm like in between because it can be an open or a closed-ended question. Like it depends on when you start to ask the question. So I want to say a closing question.
It is closed-ended. A question is either open or closed, so it's not both. But this one is closed because do you use a lot of data? I can just say yes or no, right? So that's just simple right there. But yeah, it's a closed-ended question. Perfect. Jocelyn, do you need a case and a screen protector while you're here? Is that open or closed? Closed, because I can just say yes or no. So thank you. Remember that. If I can just say yes or no, it is a closed-ended question. Liz, what do you like about your current phone? Is that an open-ended or a closed-ended question?
That one is an open-ended.
Yes, because I get to talk to you. Perfect. Thank you. Saul, do you take a lot of pictures? Is that open or closed? Saul, you're on mute.
I said that was close.
Closed. Perfect. Thank you. Jocelyn, where do you experience signal issues? Is that open or closed? Yep. Perfect. And then Alexandra, what are the top 3 apps you use in your phone? Open or closed?
Open.
Open. Perfect. All right. So let's talk about these closed-ended questions and open them up. Juliana, are you here to make a payment? Change that to an open-ended question, please.
Or does it have to have those certain words, or can I say?
No, you can, whatever you want.
Have you heard about like the opening statement, or like I can say, have you heard about any of our promos, or have you heard about our free service program instead of saying payment?
Okay, they could still, even that, Juliana, have you heard about our free services? I could say yes and no, so it's still closed-ended. So how do you change that? Little tip, whenever you start a question with are you or do you, that's automatically a closed-ended question. But if you change your question to a what, where, when, how, why, that makes it an open-ended question. If that helps a little bit. This one's a little bit different, and it's when the customer comes in, right? So that's definitely one of the things that we're talking about. Hey, it's okay to ask a closed-ended question, but you never want to ask a customer, are you here to make a payment? You want to get a little bit more deep with them.
So can you say something like, what brings you in today, or how may I help?
Yeah,
for sure. You can definitely say either one of those. Simple. And it's something that it's open-ended. What brings you in today? Yeah, I'm coming in to see what kind of promos you have. I'm coming in to see anything like that, right? So instead of just a yes or no question. Perfect, thank you. Saul, do you take a lot of pictures? That's closed-ended. Change that to an open-ended question.
You said change that to an open-ended question?
Yep.
Do you take a lot of pictures? I could say, let's see. How normally do you take pictures, I guess? I don't know, I guess it wouldn't make any sense. Let's see, do you take a lot of pictures? I would say, how mostly do you use your phone? Do you use most of the features that your phone has, or are you more of a picture creative person, I guess?
Yeah, no, that's still closed-ended because I could say, yeah, no, not really. Or you can say something like, what do you like taking pictures of? How often do you use your camera?
Yeah.
How often do you
How do
take
you use
pictures,
your
right?
camera? Okay.
How important to you are your pictures? And when you understand what kind of quality of camera the customer is going to need on their phone, these are questions that we ask to just get an understanding of what's important to the customer, so that way we understand what we're going to what we're going to recommend. Perfect. Thank you. Jocelyn, do you use a lot of data that's closed? Change that to an open-ended question.
How much data do you use?
Yeah. How much data do you use? Very simple. Perfect. Thank you. Liz, do you need a case while you're here? That is a closed-ended question. Change that to an open-ended question.
So do you need a case? I wouldn't really, I usually say, like if I see their temper, really tell them, I see that your tempered glass is cracked. We have some right now that are 50% off. You want to go ahead and take one for your phone. That's usually.
Okay. And what if I don't, what if you're selling me a phone and I don't have a tempered glass or case?
Would you like to see the accessories that come with the phone? That go to that phone?
No, I think I'm okay today. This one is a harder one. So Liz, one of the things you can ask the customer is like, hey, what's your favorite color? Right? And then, oh, my favorite color is green. You know what? I've got a lot of fantastic green cases that go fantastic with that case. That phone, let me show them to you. But, and I just want to put this into context for you guys, right? So the reason why we're going through this is when you get ready to make the recommendation, you want to recommend it in a certain way. When you understand where I play, where I work, how I use my phone, I'm going to say to you, Jocelyn, so I recommend the Stylo 6 because you work from home, you're on Zoom all day long, you love watching videos and movies. This one has a long battery. It lasts you 23 hours of talk time. It has a 6-point screen, so you don't have to worry about watching your Zooms on small camera. It's a big camera. It has 64 gigs of memory, so it's going to store all your music. It also expands to 2 terabytes. I also recommend these wireless headsets, so that way when you're on your Zoom, you can listen to your Zoom without having to worry about cables. They last all day. I also recommend this case with a kickstand. That way, when you are watching your movies or you're on Zoom, you don't have to worry about holding your phone. Do you see how I'm recommending? Because I found out you do X, Y, and Z, here's what I'm recommending. I'm also recommending a screen protector. That way, when your kids are watching your the movies on your phone or just playing around with it, if they drop it, spill something on it, the screen is protected. I also recommend the speaker because you said you love working out, listening to music. Let me show you how quickly you can connect, how loud it sounds. I'm recommending based on what I found out that you do. If I just say, hey, do you want a screen protector case in the carrier? The customer's gonna be like, no. But if I say, because you said you do this, I recommend this, the customer's gonna look at you and go, let's take a look at that. You have a higher possibility of them saying yes than just saying, hey, do you need this? Do you need that? And I'm like, no, not really. But when you say, I recommend this because you said you did this, then the customer looks at you differently. Does that make sense? Does that help out a little bit, Liz? Instead of just saying, hey, do you need a screen protector? And be like, no. And I would say, hey, I recommend a screen protector because you said your kids watch movies, videos, and play games on your phone. This will protect it in case they drop it, they break it, they spill something on it, your screen is fully protected. Now, how do I tell you no against that? You're just telling me for the reason on that, right? So that's the reason why you want to find out all this information. So when you recommend it all together and you give a reason for your recommendation. Does that make sense? Yep, perfect. Alexandra, do you drop your phone a lot? That is a closed-ended question. Change it to an open-ended question. Do you drop your phone a lot?
How often do you drop your device?
Yep. How often? When was the last time? And the reason why would you want to know that question, Alexandra? Why do you want to know if I drop my phone? What are you trying to recommend to me? What are you trying to sell me?
I'm trying to recommend the best protection for your phone and device. I want to know how often you drop it, because do we include insurance, that type of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When was the last time you dropped your phone? How often do you drop your phone? You want to recommend insurance, screen protector case, so that way the customer is protected. You want to make sure that you give value to the phone, so that way when the customer understands that the phone is free, but it normally costs $229.99, and you are offering protection for $7, and they're only going to pay a discount, their discounted price, their deductible, they're going to understand the reason for it. Perfect. Juliana, the last one. Do you have internet at home? That is a closed-ended question. Change that to an open-ended question, please.
I can ask, what are some of the things you guys like doing at home? Like, do you guys like to watch movies at home? And yeah.
Yeah, that. How do you connect to the internet at home? And the reason why we're asking that question, Juliana, right, is if you sell Xfinity boxes or Cox box, you want to offer that, or you want to position ACP. So you want to make sure that you understand, hey, how do you connect to the internet at home? Oh, I have Xfinity. How much do you pay with that? I pay $129 a month. Really? And now you start talking about your products and services, right? That's the reason why we ask these open-ended questions. What if I could tell you I could save you about $30, $40 a month, which is, X amount of dollars a year? Would that interest you in how to save that? And you're like, yeah, how do I do that? So just keep in mind, these are the questions that you ask for that. Perfect. Any questions on open-ended and closed-ended questions?
No.
All right, perfect. We're gonna wrap this up really quickly. Identifying the needs of your customer, what they need and what they don't need. So once you identify the needs of the customer, that you understand that they work from home, they need a lot of data, they jog, they work out, they have kids. Before you make that final recommendation on the phone, you want to understand at least 3 things that customer's looking for. And these are the way you can ask that. So Alexandra, you can ask the customer, now that you know, I would say, so Alexandra, now that I have an understanding of how you use your phone, what do you like doing with your phone? What are the top 3 most important things that you're looking for in a phone? The customer can say to you, I'm looking for a phone that has a big screen. Then you're going to say, great, what else? I'm looking for a phone that has a lot of data. You're going to say, great, what else? I'm looking for a phone that has great camera quality. Now you know, great data, great camera quality, a lot of storage. Now you have an idea of what phone you're going to recommend based on what you found out that they do with it, that they like, and the things that they're looking for. Another way that you can ask that question, Jocelyn, is saying, what are the top 3 most important features that you're looking for in a phone? Or the last one that you can ask, Juliana, is, what is something that your current phone doesn't have that your new phone has to have? Right? And then every time they say something, you go, great, what else? What else? What else? That allows the customer to give you at least 3 things that they're looking for. Do not make a recommendation unless you know that. What we don't want you guys to do either is make a recommendation at the beginning before you find out any information from your customer. That is not a good sale. First, you got to get curious, understand what they're coming from, what they're looking for. Now you understand how they use it. Now you're going to understand what they want, and now you're going to make the recommendation. All right? Any questions on that? So do not make a recommendation unless you find out 3 things that the customer is looking for, and these are 3 ways that you can ask for that. Perfect. All right. And the last thing is we're going to put it all together. I'm going to show you again how that sounds like. So I'm going to say to you, Saul, so because you're a store manager and you use your phone to take pictures of your display, send them to your manager, and you're looking to do some reports, You also love listening to music on the weekends, working out, watching movies and videos. I recommend the Stylo 6, and I'm gonna tell you why I recommend it. I also recommend the $60 plan, and I'm gonna tell you why I recommend it. And I also recommend screen protector case, wireless headset speaker, an extra cable, and a car mount, and I'm gonna tell you why I recommend that. So always remember, in this order, recommend the phone and the reason for your recommendation, recommend the rate plan, the reason for your recommendation, recommend 5 accessories, and the reason for the recommendation. Does that make sense there? Yep, perfect.